Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. I'm Bill.
I'm John.
I'm Linda.
I'm Charles.
I'm Seth.
And I'm Chris.
And we got a whole bunch of different stuff to talk about today. It's going to just kind of go organically wherever it goes, but I think we wanted to start off kind of talking about
Happy Life Day.
Happy Life Day.
Happy Life Day, the Star Wars Christmas
Yay.
special. And I think Seth and Linda and I are the only three that have seen that so far. But it was pretty good. I loved all the references to the movies and callbacks to certain, iconic scenes and things that were in it. What was your take, Seth?
I like how they do these Lego deals. Like the people who write for them, like the Lego Star Wars video games, and the different Lego franchise video games. They've got a good formula. They have a good sense of humor about them, and like they still get to kind of the heart of whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Like if you look at kind of the story, it's a real kind of Star Wars story. Person feels inadequate about how they're doing. They make a terrible mistake, and it has far-reaching consequences and Jedi stuff.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm not big on cartoons or animated things.
No,
but,
not you.
Right.
Really?
But I did enjoy this.
So is it on par with like the other Lego movies, the bigger blockbuster ones, like your Lego Batman, or is this just a different kind of production for those?
This is a different kind of production.
Okay.
Like
Was it on par with the Star Wars holiday special of the 70s? Is the question
so much
everyone's
better
asking.
than that. So much better than that.
What do you mean it's better than the gang? Because basically it was the gang going to Kashyyyk to find Lumpy, Chewie's son. And then, I think Captain Steubing showed up and Chachi. And there's like a whole bunch of really weird things happened during the holiday special.
Briefly, they are on Kashyyyk for Life Day to visit Chewie's family. It's Rey and the rest of the group cast from the new trilogy, basically. And so they all go to Kashyyyk to celebrate Life Day. And Rey is training Finn to be a Jedi. So this is where we kind of get some sort of confirmation that Finn is Force sensitive. And like they have a kind of a falling out, and she's like, I've got to find out how to be a better teacher. So she goes looking for some Jedi MacGuffin that's going to show her the masters of the past, and it ends up being this Force crystal that opens up portals to the past. So she goes hopping through, looking at or popping into different times in the Star Wars history, from the prequel trilogies or trilogy to the main trilogy, and then accidentally pops in on Vader and Palpatine having a moment.
What about that weird scene with Jar Jar Binks?
Oh,
Jar Jar. Actually,
Darth Binks?
Was Jar Jar in that?
No.
I was like, what the heck?
he's making it up.
I was just waiting for everybody to start riffing off on Jar Jar, but it didn't go there. So
Yeah, you
Seth
Well,
ruined it.
so some men just want to watch the world burn, don't they? Bill?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah.
you derailed my whole thing.
I
He
did.
did.
Anyway,
It's the way I go.
she pops in on Vader and Palpatine, they manage to get the time crystal and start messing things up, and it's just a mile a minute here, but it's fun.
It is good. It's worth watching, even if you don't like animation or cartoons. John, you'll like it.
I So does it actually like kind of save Life Day? Is it like a reaffirmation? People can now hold their heads up and not be ashamed of Life Day after the original
not get
holiday
carried
special.
away.
You could always do that. You could just be like, yeah, I prefer Life Day. I just don't acknowledge the source material.
Well,
Like
then,
So
most
you're-
Christians.
then you're just doing Festivus, then, aren't you?
I think
mean,
Seth
really,
is saying
you
he's
know,
pro-life day.
Oh boy.
I think Bill's putting words in my mouth again. I'm just saying you can do what you want.
Yeah, you always have a choice, Seth. You do.
So, well, I mean, something I liked is like some of the Lego models that they had in there looked really cool, like Rey's X-Wing. That looks like an awesome model to build. I may need to see if I can get that.
Did they give the specs in the show on how to make it, or?
No.
No.
They might definitely sell the model. I mean, Lego.
If you
Lego
watch the first
specials.
Lego movie, if you watch the first one, it showed how they built them. It's like they literally showed you what blocks you need to buy.
Yeah, they had like all the part numbers kind of show up like as
Yeah.
they were going through building stuff. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool touch to it.
That was cool.
Yeah, I mean, like Lego movies, Lego specials, they're basically super long toy commercials.
Exactly.
And that's cool. That's the kind of advertising I respond well to.
Yeah,
You know,
I bought a lot of Legos off of the Lego movie.
Well, while we're on the subject of Star Wars, do we want to talk about what we think so far of the Mandalorian season? So spoiler alert for anyone that's not up to date on the Mandalorian.
Why
So I
aren't
think-
you?
Well, first of all,
Yeah.
yeah, why aren't you? And secondly, Seth is through episode 5, right, Seth?
Yeah,
Okay. And
Seth, do you know who Grogu is?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Then that's good.
isn't he a brother to Raxio Califacorian Falapatorius?
Oh no, stop. I
No.
knew that
God
was
damn
coming.
it, Bill. That's what I'm naming this episode. God damn
Did you
it,
spend
Bill.
the first 20 minutes you were awake practicing that? And now you're just so proud of your skill, you just have to keep repeating it.
I think it's just a great name, Raxio Falapatorius.
Okay,
I don't
we
know.
don't need to
Now-
hear it
now I'm messing it up, but
Are you sure we want to talk about Mando
Should be.
spoilers this early in the episode?
well, yeah, I
What
think
do you-
so.
Okay.
You think that over the course of the next half hour, people will catch up?
Or tune out.
I think that if they haven't seen
If you haven't seen it,
Mandalorian so far,
stop
then they
watching us.
will
Go
tune
watch The
out.
Mandalorian and
Well-
come back to us.
Why don't we talk about the boys?
Oh wait, I thought we were talking about.
Yeah,
Well,
you
I'm not
thought.
worried about-
but
There's
then-
nothing to spoil. It's just a bunch of A-Team episodes with the green guy.
So no Pedro.
Well, I mean, the boys is actually done. So it's like our next show. By our next show, both Mando and Star Trek Discovery season 3 should be done.
I
So
think they're only up to episode 9 of
no, they by the time our
Discovery.
next episode, yeah, there's only 10.
I don't think
thought
there's
there was
anything to
13.
spoil.
That's
think so.
that's been
Let me
kind of. But this is interesting, engaging conversation. Us talking about what we're going to talk about on the episode. I hope everyone really appreciates this.
Yeah,
This
If
is
we're
called
get-
behind the scenes.
this is called super meta. We're getting extra meta here for all of our meta fans.
Well, I thought we were going to talk some more about Christmas specials that we like.
Well,
Okay.
Somebody-
let's go.
I think it's worth just pointing out that right around episode 5,
Oh, I just wanted to
There's
say,
a
Charles,
bell.
that your head is in the way of your fine art piece.
oh, cool.
I can't see it.
Yes. This is the spot where Baby Yoda dies.
Thank you
Charles.
for burning down our comments, Charles.
There we
Thanks.
go.
And we have to say right now, Baby Yoda does not die. So
that we know
Yeah.
of.
That's a
We're
matter
we're
of
pretty
opinion.
sure at this point that Baby Yoda is not dead.
I
Not
don't want to
so
be the
far.
trigger for whatever like burns down the world, but I think if
Yeah.
Baby Yoda dies, like Western civilization depends on that, right?
That would be the crowning point for 2020. That would
He
be
ate too many
the,
squid. He ate too many squid creatures.
So should everybody know like who the Mandalorian really, what he really looks like by now? Would that be a spoiler?
No.
Go ahead and show
no, that
them.
wouldn't be a
That was
spoiler.
last season.
Okay, so there he is.
Oh,
Look at that handsome face.
yeah. It's
covered,
like
covered
I'm
by a
just
mask.
I'm thinking that this mask guy, it's coming off. I mean, why would you hire Pedro Pascal if you wanted to keep him in a mask? It's
Because
like,
of the voice.
well, it's kind of like hiring Oscar Isaacs to play Apocalypse in the X-Men. It's like covering him all up in makeup. Just seems like why would you do that? That just
Because it's the Creed.
I mean,
no, it's a Creed, but it's like
this is the way.
This is the way.
but apparently after what's her name? Ko-Ratan? Ko-Ratan?
Bo-Katan cries.
Bo-Katan. Yeah, she doesn't wear the hood. She doesn't wear the mask. Apparently, she identifies the Mandalorian as belonging to a fringe cult of
Right.
Mandalorians. So, I mean, it's like, I imagine that
So you think he'll
Pedro would
reform?
like to. Yeah, I think he,
He'll join the modern society instead of following the ways of the cult?
I think if Pedro Pascal, because like we were discussing this before the show started about the whole controversy about Pedro Pascal still actually wearing the armor, because as Chris and I have been reading, there's a large controversy that seemed to end up with Pascal
Rumor.
voicing the actor.
There was a rumor. That's not a controversy. It's a rumor.
Rumor
It
has it.
was all right. You make it.
Rumor
It's
has it.
But as Chris and I said, there was a lot more. There, first of all, there was a large number of nerd sites that were claiming the same thing,
Yeah.
and it's like, in fact, until Chris and you and Bill said it today, it's like I didn't know that Pedro was still in the suit. I literally
wow.
thought he was no
Yeah.
longer.
So
in the
there
suit.
was a lot of discussion around whether or not there would be a change about maybe halfway through filming season 2 because of this snag of Pedro. You know, the mask has already come off. I'd like to show my face more. Otherwise, what's the point? Anybody can sit in the suit.
I can agree
So-
with him on that.
Well, and here's the thing:
yeah.
if they put somebody else in the suit, would we ever know?
They wouldn't, and in fact, they have. There have been non.
Well, yeah, the stunt people, like
Yeah.
he's said openly, like he's left a lot of the other action parts and stuff like that to the stuntmen. So there's definitely, he's not always in the suit.
Right.
Well, Bill,
Yeah.
didn't we see something on one of the after shows or
Yeah.
about basically he has to do everything twice because he does it in the suit as the actor and then he has to put his voice to it again
Yeah.
later. So it's kind of like I can see his point.
Yeah, I can see his point too. And it's just like it's like you made the point that there are Mandos that have different creeds. So
That would
Maybe-
almost be like, being in the Galactic Driftwood podcast and then having to go back and edit it and watch it again.
you do. That's what you do.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
That's
I'm
his
living the
point.
life of the Mandalorian.
I think that's his
Yeah.
point. Do you want out?
Maybe you should do it all with a helmet on then. And
Oh,
They-
there's a thought.
That's neurotic. But
If
yeah,
somebody
do
will
it.
get me a helmet made out of Beskar, I'll do it.
Beskar.
Beskar doesn't exist.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, there you go.
You just
Either-
don't have the
either
right
way,
3D printer yet, Seth.
I think it's fair to say, rumor wise or however you want to call it, controversy, it happened. How it was ultimately resolved or went down, it from what I gathered and from what was kind of pretty much put out there was, he voiced his complaints on that. He really, really wanted his face shown more. I mean, look at that pretty mug. And the studio basically came back and said, I have spoken. This is the way.
Right.
Take it or leave it. And that was that.
That was that, but apparently that wasn't all that because now he's back. So
Yeah.
maybe there have been some promises made that at some point soon he'll be able to take the helmet off.
Maybe.
Well, he can take it off anytime he wants, as long as he's not around a living
People.
being.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think I don't know.
All he
Maybe
needs is
Disney
like
just-
some Cylon models.
This does sound like
Speaking of Cylons, wasn't it good to see Katie Sackhoff
It
again?
was. It was.
I wonder where I've missed her. I have. I didn't know
Well,
I
she was
missed her,
just
but I
in a
did.
show on Netflix, a sci-fi show on Netflix that we just watched.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was-
know,
that was
like
terrible.
4 months ago.
It was awful. It's absolutely unwatchable. And it's like, and I mean, she didn't probably have any, stake in the writing of it
Right.
or the directing of it, but yeah, it was not good.
But now, here's the thing that occurs to me. So when we see her, I mean, I can't think of a show she's been in that's not a science fiction related show. So do people that star in sci-fi shows, do you think they get pigeonholed?
I
She was wasn't she in Longmire for a while, or is she still?
I don't know what
I
that
haven't
is.
seen that.
Oh wow,
what is it?
not sci-fi.
Yeah, it was like,
That
Yeah,
explains why you
so-
haven't seen it.
it's like maybe see that's just it. Is it her being stuck in sci-fi, or is it us who only
Being
watch
stuck.
sci-fi? We don't.
Yeah, so
actually
I
look
knew
for
her
real
initially
shows.
from another show, Longmire, where she's a deputy in that.
Oh,
I
okay.
never saw that.
And that's like your Wyoming state sheriff's whatever kind of.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's her. That's her on the screen as Bo-Katan in the Mandalorian. So,
I think
and,
she did a really good job.
and they're Mandalorians as well, but they're Mandalorians that supposedly are mainstream, where wearing the helmet and the armor all the time is not required. Whereas Mando,
He's from a
Yeah.
sect.
he's
That-
part of a cult.
well, that's what they've
Cult.
claimed.
Yeah, a cult that
Yeah.
believes they can't ever take the helmet off, which would kind of suck for eating and stuff if you're out at a restaurant. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm out eating somewhere, I even take off my COVID face mask, and that puts me at risk
see?
of death.
We see him eating a couple times, and he just like lifts it up and
Yeah.
In our own
Yeah.
defense, we
Like
don't
that.
eat out. Thank you.
It's the sneeze. It's the sneeze you'd have to worry about.
The sneeze.
That's
yeah.
every time I see him in the helmet. That's what I think.
Right.
Well, he probably
Phew.
doesn't get many particulates up in there, so probably
Maybe
not.
it's got a filter.
Well, I'd be in trouble. Just saying.
So you wouldn't
I'll
wear
bet
the
there is
helmet?
a Mandalorian who's had to deal with that.
No doubt. I mean, you have to assume they get sick. How
Yes.
do you get that? Well, here's the question. If you do get sick or you do need emergency medical assistance and the doctor has to attend to you, how does that happen if you can't take your helmet off?
Droids.
The droid, yeah.
Yeah.
Droid.
Oh,
All
yeah.
all the doctors seem to be droids these days. Yeah, in Star Wars universe. So yeah.
Everyone's too busy.
Except
Shooting
for the
blasters.
torture doctors who apparently
They're
Right.
in it for the love of the game, man. They're not.
There you
They're
go.
Do
not.
what you love, and you'll never work a day in
You'll
your life.
never work a day in your life. That's right. That's right. You gotta love what you do.
Here's a question. Any theories from anyone on who the real owner, the rightful owner of the Darksaber is?
Well, I mean, it's not there's not really a rightful owner outside of outside of a Mandalorian. Like,
Yeah, it's a Mando weapon. It was
Yeah.
designed by Mandos, but
I think the lore behind that is that it was made by the first Mandalorian Jedi, but it's become something of a symbol on Mandalore now.
yeah.
So this is actually what Bo-Katan is after.
There's the
Is she
Darksaber.
wants the Darksaber back so she can return to Mandalore and basically reclaim her seat of power.
Right.
Like that. That's kind of almost akin to Excalibur for seems for Mandalorians.
They're kind of cool.
Now,
I showed you my friend's Darksaber.
yes, that was cool.
Yeah, the before times when we could
Yeah.
see things in person.
Now, John and Chris, you're caught up on the Mandalorian, you said, right?
No,
Oh,
No.
Chris, you're not.
no, I'm not.
Oh, okay. All right.
Caught up on Mando, yeah. Are you caught up on Star Trek?
Yes. Yep. As of Friday night, on Friday nights is our catch-up night. It's Sci-Friday for us. We watch Discovery and Mando.
Anyone else caught up on Star Trek? Well,
No.
But
Now-
no worries. 'Cause
Let me sticking with the Mandalorian for a second, but not talking about the actual episodes itself. I'm talking about the filming of the episodes. There's a series that's also on Disney Plus. that's it's like Star Wars Gallery or something like that, and the episodes start with the second season of The Mandalorian, and it kind of goes into depth on the filming of each episode. And one of the things, one of the shows that we just watched that I thought was the most amazing was where they discussed something they call the volume. Are you guys familiar with that at all? So
I am not.
the volume. So we all know about filming movies with green screens, right? So
Yeah.
you have a green screen in the background, you put the actors there, the actors do their thing, and then people go in. So this is a scene with the different actors. This is one of the episodes in the gallery where they're talking about behind the scenes on some of the episodes. And
Oh, is it kind of like the Ready Room with Will?
yeah, only
Whedon?
it's much more interactive, where each of the participants there could almost be a host of the show, really. So in the one episode, they're talking about the volume and what they did. So when you're filming a scene in front of a background green screen, and then that goes to post-production, if you've got a guy standing there in like Mandalorian armor and they're watching a sunset, you've got to go in and manually add the sunset highlights reflecting off of his armor and stuff. And all of that requires a lot of, understanding about the complex interplay of light and how it reflects off metal surfaces. Well, what they did for the Mandalorian is they created this giant sound studio that they call the volume. And the floor, the ceiling, and this curved wall space is all a giant LED screen. And what they do when they're filming is they put the actual background up on the screen and the ceiling and the floor so that they can film whatever scene they want. And they actually film it in camera, so they don't have to go back and do any green screen work. And the beauty of it is, they said, is that as the actors are acting in that space, the light coming off of the LED screens is reflecting off of the armor. There, you can
that
see
is
the
super
volume.
cool.
So you see the ceiling, the background, and so there'll be like that deck he's standing on is an actual prop, but then it blends into the background of the actual footage that they designed for the episode. So they said it's great because you get this complex interplay of light, and as the actors are moving through the scene, the reflections change. And they said it's a lot less work and provides a much more convincing look to the scene than you could get with a green screen. The other thing that they found that was kind of intuitive when you think about it, but wasn't obvious when they first started planning to do this, was that when you have characters in front of a green screen, every character has to imagine in their mind what the scene looks like that they're in. When you put the actors into this, the scene is around them. They're all reacting to the same exact thing. And they said there was one scene in The Mandalorian where they're on this metal barge that's floating down a river of lava. And they said the actors were in this boat. And he said, even though the boat is stationary and not moving, because the background is moving and you're in the floor looks like lava, and you're going through this tunnel. And at the end of the tunnel, you see the light getting larger and larger. You're on your way out. Everybody in the boat actually felt like they were in that scene. And the guy who plays the leader of the guild, I can't think of his name right now.
The Carl Weathers.
Yeah, Carl Weathers' character. He said that, when you're in this, you're actually feeling like you're moving down this river of lava. And he said, it gets all of your senses hyped up for it, and you actually feel the intensity of the scene a lot more, and it helps a lot more with the acting and bringing out the acting. Plus, all of the characters are reacting in the same way because you're all seeing the same thing.
That is awesome.
Yeah, they said it's quite amazing. It's a good little episode to watch in that gallery series that accompanies The Mandalorian this season. So
yeah, I remember that.
That's the lava tunnel that they're floating down, and there's a picture of IG-88.
IG-11, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's like IG-88 was the one in Empire Strikes Back. Yeah,
right. IG-11, right. So so he got off the barge and decided to walk his way out, and we won't talk about that anymore, so we don't want to spoil anything. But that's an example of the scene and how it looks. So that volume is pretty amazing, and they said that it was very expensive to design the studio, but the money that they're saving on the back end, having to go in and manually add up all these special effects and all of this extra processing time required, is probably going to make up for it in the long run. And,
I imagine. And they're going to be able to use that studio for other shows. And it's like,
Right. And they said eventually that's probably the way everything will be shot going forward as prices continue to drop. Yeah.
From a technology standpoint, that's kind of cool to see them finally adapt to something else from green screens to now this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, and it made me think, how long before you have something like this in your house where you have, your walls and your ceiling or this type of LED screen. That's what somebody else.
Well, I mean, we do virtual backgrounds now. I mean, look at our backgrounds.
Sure.
And, 10 years ago, that really wasn't a thing, but now it's, you don't need the green screen anymore. That just kind of does it.
Right. I mean, you wouldn't have expected to see me sitting in the engine room of the Star Destroyer. So, right, John?
Yeah, that gives me a whole other way to look at that. Now I'm always going to wonder, how did they film this scene?
Right. Yeah, because you can see the guy with the camera there, and it's almost a 360-degree screen. Yep. And they had a lot more footage of the guys with the cameras moving around in there and how they can change the backgrounds. And they said it also makes it very easy for them to come back and do little pickup scenes where they need to get another additional scene or another take on a scene, because it just takes them a second just to recreate that backdrop and start filming it. So it's pretty amazing.
Very nice.
Yeah. And they showed one of the scenes, for example, they had like the fuselage of the, I'm drawing a blank on the name of his ship. The Mando's ship, his spaceship. What's it called?
It's, but I don't think it needs a name anymore.
The Clipper. What kind of a ship is it? Come on, Seth, help me out.
Which one?
The name of Mando's ship.
Mando's ship.
Razor Crest?
Correct, that's it.
The Razor Crest, that's it.
Razor
Thank you. Oh my God, all I could think of was Clipper. The Razor Crest. So they had just the fuselage of the Razor Crest, but the LED screen provided, they were supposed to be like under one of the wings. So the ceiling of the LED screen was the underside of the wing, so that they could get that shadow and that shading effect when they walked underneath it. It was pretty impressive the way they do a lot of this. So I encourage everybody to watch that if you want to see some really cool behind the scenes.
Star Wars Galleries.
Yeah, Star Wars Galleries. Yep.
Is it in Disney Plus? Or
it's in Disney Plus. It's not under The Mandalorian, so it's its own separate series. So just go look for Star Wars Galleries.
They have like a whole Star Wars section in the Disney Plus thing, I think, and it's
one of the ones in there. So just find that and just start at episode 1 and just watch straight through. There might be spoilers in there if you haven't seen through the latest episode, and because the episodes kind of follow along with the episodes of The Mandalorian. So if you've seen episode 5 of The Mandalorian, don't go past episode 5 of the gallery. Yeah. So there's an example of, again, the volume. You can see them working in the volume with the cameras. And then The other thing I didn't realize is that the character that we see sitting on the top of the blurg there, God damn, I'm drawing a blank on his
So
name
Nick
now.
Nolte played the voice. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
Nick
his-
Nolte played the voice.
No, I have
But anyway,
spoken.
that whole there is a person that's inside that, but the face, the eyes, the mouth, and all of that is animatronic, and it's being controlled by remote control by these guys with remote controllers off the stage, and yeah, it's just it's fascinating how they're doing all this stuff with a combination of animatronics and puppetry to make all of this stuff come to life. And they were talking about how it's been a unique marriage that really is bringing out the core feeling of Star Wars from the original movies.
And this is it. It's
Yeah.
like if Disney can get over its inability to write good scripts, then it can take Star Wars where it should go. And it's like Favreau seems to have done that. Favreau seems to have broken through the craptoid writing that Disney's been throwing at Star Wars for it's the entire time it's had it. Well, I take that back. I think Rogue One was very good.
Yes.
And I actually liked Solo. I did.
Yeah, I like
did
Solo
too.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it.
But but
Rogue One, I think, is probably one of my favorite Star Wars of all time.
John,
7,
you're
8,
talking
and 9.
like the prequel trilogy had good writing, so I don't know what you're talking about.
What? You don't think the prequel trilogy had good writing?
No.
I agree. I didn't like them either. I didn't. Just because I'm saying that the sequel trilogy is bad doesn't mean that the prequel trilogy
It was
has
any
to be
better.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no kind of inverse relationship there that's implied. It's like 7, 8, and 9 are awful. I mean, absolutely awful. And in fact,
No,
I didn't think they were that bad.
they're not awful.
prequels-
They're nowhere near as bad as the prequels.
Prequels, right? I didn't
Well,
care for the
if that's
prequels,
if that's your bar, man, then fuck.
It's a
It's
little
like,
bit of my bar.
hell.
I get to compare.
It's like if that's the bar, I want the bar to be Mandalorian. I don't want the bar to be the prequels. That's not where I want to start. You have to do better than the prequels. It's like, damn it. It's like that's nowhere to go. It's like be better than
Star Wars is Star Wars. It gets to be a little bit cheesy. Like,
Well, cheesy's okay, but no, it should be better than an old Western.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
that's what they modeled it after.
yeah. Well, I'm wondering if you guys think we'll see any kind of spin-offs from The Mandalorian. Would you like to see Cara Dune in her own, her own show as Marshal of that town?
why not? I would not. I don't
I
think I'd mind that
biggest
at all.
there is why not?
Yeah.
I think Disney is setting up, Feige could be setting up any number of spin-offs. And here I do want to, I guess if we're talking Mando spoilers, episode 5, we meet back up with Ahsoka from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And yes.
And that actress did a great job on that.
Did a great
character,
job.
thought.
I didn't think that Feige had anything to do with Star Wars. I thought he was just
sorry.
basically MCU guy.
Sorry, whoever's writing for
Favreau?
Favreau.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, so now we've got Ahsoka back in there, confirmed alive after the events of the third or episode 6 or episode,
Order 66.
Well, we knew she survived Order 66 because she's been in
Stuff after that.
Star Wars Rebels.
Order
She was
66 is where the Emperor programmed the clones who were stormtroopers
To take out the
to
Jedi.
Take out the Jedi.
Yeah.
On a command called Order 66.
Yeah.
So,
But she was in Rebels, so we knew she'd survived that, but we didn't know that she had survived post original trilogy. We
Rebels
kinda
was an
assumed-
animated series for Star Wars.
Yeah.
When was that placed exactly?
Rebels is placed right before Rogue One, I believe.
Oh yeah, because they actually, I do believe they showed one of the rebel ships on the field on Yavin 4, which was the moon. Actually, there's. Do I have to explain Yavin 4 to everybody? No. Yavin 4 was the moon in episode 4, where Leia, Luke, and Han escapes the Death Star to fly to, and it's like before they had to attack the Death Star with X-wings.
Right.
So
But in episode 5, we learned that Ahsoka is hunting Admiral Thrawn,
which is cool. I'm glad he's in there.
Who, for any of us who were reading the now extended universe books,
I read all of the extended universe, and I loved Thrawn. I thought Thrawn was a great character.
Thrawn is a fan favorite, and if Disney wants to bring Thrawn back into the canon in a big way, yes,
do it. And I'm not going to explain any of that. You can read your own extended universe stuff to find out about Thrawn, or watch the show.
I will gladly spend an entire episode talking about Grand Admiral Thrawn and the original extended universe trilogy of books. I will talk at everyone for an hour.
He was in Rebels, wasn't he?
Yeah.
What kind of role did he play in Rebels? Because I didn't see that.
I haven't seen Rebels yet. It joins my vast backlog of things that I need to watch and haven't yet because there's too much stuff.
This one's a little clearer.
Well, that's good.
All right. At the end of episode 5, we see the Mandalorian. He's got to take Grogu to Tython, right?
Something like that, yeah.
That Bo-Katan, or not Bo-Katan, Ahsoka Tano says, take him to Tython, take him to the top of the mountain, to the Jedi temple there, and put him on the Seeing Stone. And if he feels like it, he'll reach out with the Force and hopefully contact another Jedi, right? So
see, that to me, doesn't that seem reckless?
Yeah.
Because basically you're advertising to any Force user.
Right.
And it's like there's probably, at least as many Sith out there as there are Jedi. So it's like,
yeah.
I thought that was a reckless move. I mean, the Mando didn't know any better.
No.
But
I
would expect it more from Ahsoka.
I'm not sure how much of a Jedi Ahsoka is.
She trained as
she's
a
just
Jedi.
a saber.
She trained as one, but she's pretty much as gray as they come. I think.
Everything you'd expect a Padawan of Anakin to be. So yeah. But yeah, it's like I know, but it's like I think she liked the Grogu, I think. So I don't know. This seemed like it just to me seemed like a reckless action. Like you want to advertise to the universe that there's a Force user.
Right.
And it's like, who do you think's gonna come?
Right.
It's like it's like not all the choices, not all the options are good.
Well, here's the thing that kind of got me on that whole scene there is, so obviously he takes the baby to the Seeing Stone and then the baby reaches out. But what you see is this Force energy basically going up vertically from this stone into the sky.
Sky beams.
Huh? Yeah.
Sky beams.
Right. Just a beam heading straight up, like shining a laser beam up into the night sky. But how much area of space, there it is, how much area of space are you going to hit with that beam that's going straight up?
It's
right?
The Force. It's space magic. It works because
space magic. I'd agree with Seth on that one.
It just seemed to me to be like shining a flashlight up into space and expecting to reach somebody everywhere in the universe. And I'm like, I don't think they understand how
you don't know the Force.
Works.
But it's the Force.
Apparently.
Yeah, it's so you're angry, or you're trying to express disbelief that your MacGuffin doesn't appear to be working quite the way that the MacGuffin should work.
Right. Right. My suspension of disbelief was lost there because I'm like, he's
And
supposed
that is what it should be doing. It should be giving you the sense of belief because it's,
Right.
it's a MacGuffin. It's like,
right. Now,
I
if
didn't-
it had just gone out in a bubble
Could that have-
wave,
could that have simply
Yeah.
been the force shield that was protecting Grogu rather than the actual carrier wave?
I don't know. It looked like energy going up like
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
And so in my mind,
it
I'm
did
thinking,
repel
okay,
the
that's
Mando.
the signal going out like a radio signal, only it's more like instead of radio, which as we know is a expanding wave of energy, this was like a photon
How
shot
fast
straight
does
up.
the force travel? Because it would take like hours to reach the nearest planet, even
Sure.
at
Right.
light speed. If it, it's like,
That was indeed like a signal to go out. Yeah.
yeah, if
Right.
it would take years to go. It would take 4 years to go to Alpha Centauri.
Well,
Yeah,
unless
except that like Luke feels his friends in danger.
Yeah, I was going to say you do have force
Yeah.
users that
There
feel
you go. You're
lost.
right. But was that the force showing in the now, or is that the force that was giving him precog about potential futures?
Space magic. It's
I know.
space magic.
Again,
Maybe
it's like, see, Bill's trapped us into trying to define a MacGuffin that refuses
oh,
to define.
maybe the force is quantum entangled.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
I don't know.
But-
Maybe all of your explanations are bullshit.
Maybe it's Space Jesus. I don't know. I don't. I have no idea.
Obi-Wan Kenobi? Why are you bringing Obi-Wan Kenobi into this?
I don't know. All hail Obi-Wan Kenobi.
All
I
right.
bet you won't share this on your Facebook.
Okay, well, so let's switch gears just a little bit. We're going to stay in sci-fi, but I want to jump over to Discovery. Now, I think John and Linda and I are the only ones that have seen that. And again, there's spoilers if you haven't seen this season of Star Trek Discovery yet. Get caught up at least through season 9 or episode 9, sorry, of season 3. But I want John's thoughts on detached nacelles.
I thought about that, and it doesn't make any sense. It's like considering what they're designed to do, and it's like I actually looked up details on nacelles, and there's all kinds of conflicting canon about nacelles, which is weird in itself. Canon should like actually mesh, but it's like part of canon says it's a Bussard ramjet, which is actually something that creates a magnetic field that scoops in interstellar hydrogen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why you'd need that for a
Antimatter drive.
yeah. I don't. But even it's like if the nacelles do that, I'm not sure where that goes. If the nacelles hold the antimatter,
Yeah.
then
So for those of you-
detaching them would actually be counterproductive, wouldn't it? I mean,
I don't know. They must be beaming the matter. So in the Discovery in the current season has jumped 930 years into the future, and 930 years into the future, all of the nacelles on starships are detached. They sit offside the starship, where they would be attached. They're just moved off, I don't know, however many feet or yards or whatever. And they're just sort of magnetically connected to
there's
the
something
ship.
connected. Somehow
Right.
They're connected to the ship, but it's
Right.
like
We don't know
there's-
how.
there's physical things that should be going back and forth between the nacelles.
We have to assume it's some sort of energy radiated
And
that we can't see.
Did you notice it's
Well-
like in Star Trek movies they have like these dry docks to fix ships. This time they just had like Bob the Builder pop up and just start, and in like 15 seconds it's
Those
like
were
all
those
of a sudden-
androids.
Yeah.
So
Can we do it? Yes, we can.
I may be making nerds very angry right here who understand like how
There it
warp
is.
theory works.
There's the detached nacelle off to the left.
It doesn't
and then
make
the
any
ship.
sense. It's like considering what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know
Well-
why you'd want to do that, but
My understanding of how
Go
warp drive works is that you're basically projecting a bubble of
Yeah.
your
Energy.
that-
Yeah.
energy that puts a ship into basically subspace.
Yeah.
And in
And the way
some of the
that I
definitions
thought-
of the nacelles, that is exactly what they do, is they
Well,
generate a subspace field.
the way that I thought it worked is you needed two nacelles because you need kind of two subspace bubbles, one slightly off from the other that propels the ship through subspace. Like you're not using any sort of impulse drive. You're using these two offset bubbles of space-time.
I read that too.
Push your ship through subspace is how I thought it worked.
And
Hey, Linda,
that's actually a drive.
Yeah.
It's called the Alcubierre drive.
hang on to
it's
that
actually
picture. I
being
want to
studied
call
right
it up
now.
again in a minute.
Yeah, I will.
So
Hey, Linda, can you find me a picture of the Alcubierre drive? ACUBRE, something like that. And it's like this is actually what you're talking about is exactly what the Alcubierre drive is.
yeah,
and it's
but
kinda
if
neat.
you've got then detached nacelles, you could move them out in different. You could move them out
Configurations.
further or in and adjust the
Warp
So,
field.
right.
yeah the warp fields that are pushing your ship forward. So
True.
maybe getting better speed. And you've said in other weeks that the lithium is
Rare.
rare, so maybe it increases the efficiency.
Maybe
Yeah.
it does. So
That
that would
could be.
define. So this might define what the nacelles actually do once and for all,
Yeah.
And
which would make them stand alone. How do they get power?
you can beam power.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's some way.
I mean, if you can
Not
beam
like
somebody's
transport.
matter from site
not
A
like
to site
that.
B,
Like
There we go.
there's
That's the
probably some
Alcubierre
sort of
drive right
direct,
there. It's basically two space bubbles, and it's like it's a matter of like one pushes you backwards, the other kind of opens space ahead of you, so you're always falling.
yeah.
And you can go. Actually, there's no real limit to how fast you can go with an Alcubierre drive. Hypothetically, there are supposed to be teams of scientists working on this right now. In fact, they are. I know they are. And this isn't a conspiracy theory. They're actually working on this right now.
John, you're
but-
bringing something to us that isn't a conspiracy theory. Are you feeling okay?
Well, I may be the conspiracy theory guy, but
Well,
in some
You just-
cases,
but
this is
you're sounding kind of like the guy in every kind of bad action movie that goes, "Trust me."
so
Never mind.
yeah.
said the guy with the walrus on his wall.
Yes.
Now, here's the other thing. So the Discovery, as we know, has the spore drive. And when they activate the spore drive, which allows them to instantly jump from one spot to any other spot in the universe, the ship goes through this flipping rotation thing and then just disappears and then pops up in a new place and spins down. And so a lot of the discussion that I saw when the detached nacelles first came out was like, okay, so how are the detached nacelles going to know about the flipping ship and how are they going to stay on? And that was answered in the last episode.
Well, here's a question. Isn't
Did they upgrade the Discovery?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They did.
Discovery's
But-
been
but-
upgraded with programmable matter.
Do you remember that the mycelial drive is supposed to be destroying the universe and you shouldn't be using it anymore? When did that like all of a sudden become okay?
Well, it was only destroying it because it was the Empress Giorgio's ship. They were stealing all of the energy from the mycelial network, and when they destroyed that ship, it regenerated, and then they repopulated the mycelial network on that one planet where they were investigating that big tower of energy. Remember?
Yeah.
So they repopulated the mycelial network.
But when they got trapped like halfway into the mycelial network,
Yeah.
didn't I mean that's one of the things that the doctor, his
Yeah.
shade, I guess you'd call it,
Yeah.
told us is
Right.
that the mycelial network is dying.
Right, and that was
then-
because of what Giorgio and the doctor on the Giorgio, the mirror universe Giorgio was doing.
That's
So-
the new ship.
Yeah, that's the new. No,
Yeah, that's the new one.
It doesn't have detached nacelles.
Well, they detach.
Oh, they
Yeah, but-
detach. Oh.
They do.
it's
Well,
also
actually, they
10
never attach.
Yeah, but it's
They're
also
free-floating now.
1031, Linda. It's not 1031-A.
Well, that's weird because it looks like.
Yeah, I know it looks
Hold
like
on. Hold on.
So-
So if
Didn't
you
we have a
haven't been
discussion about
watching Discovery, everything you guys are talking about sounds like
Yeah.
gibberish right now.
Yeah, it kind of does. I was just remarking in my head about that.
Yeah,
Like-
so
Okay.
So when the ship
Mycelial
goes to-
shades are a thing.
when the ship goes to the future and they find the Federation, the ship gets refit and it gets redesigned with programmable matter. And so as a result, the
Lots of strange
the
things can happen.
nacelles will reattach physically and deattach physically right before and after the ship goes into the mycelial network and comes back. So that way the nacelles
Yeah.
stay with
See,
the
that's
ship.
the original.
I'm beginning to see
Yeah.
what Seth's talking about. Maybe we should actually have a whole Star Trek show.
I think we should.
Yeah, because this is going to sound like crazy talk.
Well, unless somebody's watching it. But it might just be enough impetus to get them to go say, what in the F are they talking about? And watch it.
or to stop listening to the episode.
Right.
Yeah, or that.
We're just
might do that.
listening to these people say nonsense words for 15 minutes.
Right. But
Like we don't
programmable
always do
matter-
that.
The programmable matter idea is very cool, I think. So pretty much everything in the future is programmable matter. So, you want to sit down, all of a sudden a chair just pops out of thin air, or matter pops out and creates a chair out of thin air, and you sit in it and it just hovers there.
This week's guest star of Galactic Driftwood, Pixel. Ah!
So yeah, I was just wondering kind of, John, what you thought
What
of the
everybody
detachable
wanted to see.
nacelles and
Well,
what do you think of the season
If-
so far?
if it is like Seth says, that having variable nacelles can make the drive more efficient, then that's awesome. That's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Your season, I think Burnham cries too much.
Mm.
I'm getting kind of tired of her crying and whining and being all emo all the time. I don't know if I belong here. It's like, shut up. Just damn it.
John would make an excellent counselor.
Shut up.
No,
damn it.
No, it's like all the people in this show had to go through the same risks that Burnham did. And she's just basically I don't feel that Burnham has any empathy.
I don't think they went through the same risks for
No.
starters.
They went through exactly the same risks.
Well, they
No.
were all together. She was by herself, and she was by
Right.
herself for a year before
For a
anybody
year,
else
and
showed
that's
up.
and unfortunately they didn't spend any more time getting her character through that year. It was just like, bam, okay, it's a year later. And I wish they had maybe done a couple of episodes
So you
of
could see
just
what she
her,
had gone through.
because I think we
Well, it
missed some.
seems like she hung out with the Han Solo of the Star Trek universe.
Yes.
Which is Book.
But
Right.
and she didn't know if they were alive. She
Although
didn't know.
Although, in all fairness, I would not say that Book is a Han Solo character, because he is definitely not a con guy out to make money for himself. He is on a mission to save these creatures and nature.
He has an agenda, and
Yes.
he will lie, cheat, and steal for his agenda. It's just make him an altruistic Han Solo, if that makes you feel better.
Yeah, I think so. I feel better about that.
If that makes you happy.
He's
that's what
so
it's
I
all
would
about.
call him chaotic good, in that he's
Jesus
not
Christ,
following.
how did we get into this?
He's not following any specific laws. He's doing what he sees he has to do in order to do right as he sees it.
And
Yeah.
once again, John, those actions have to be benevolent.
No, they don't.
Yes,
They do not. In fact, I think we pretty much established that.
No, they
At our
have to be
last meeting.
benevolent.
They don't have to be benevolent.
Yeah.
Yes,
They have to be
they do.
good according to how the character views good. And
they-
it's like,
Benevolent.
Benevolent.
We
No.
read that description in the book twice,
Yes.
and that's what we
Benevolence-
concluded.
benevolence is in the eye of the beholder.
No?
Okay, we're not going to
No.
get off on that.
Yes, it is. It's
We're
straight
having a
up.
D&D argument here
It is
because
totally in the eyes of
Hey,
Okay,
what a
I'm
great
go-
segue.
I'm going to
Speaking of
ask
D&D,
our listeners to weigh
that
in.
she's being rude by trying to interrupt me, I'm being
No.
benevolent by teaching her a valuable lesson about behavior.
You
I'm
just
gonna
wait
ask-
until next time you talk over somebody.
Oh, man, can't
I
go
would like our listeners to
that.
weigh in on the D&D concept of benevolent or
Do you
not
want to go
benevolent, of
over like
chaotic
the
good.
whole idea of the alignments before we do that?
No.
Sure.
Let's save that for an episode where we have Benito.
Yeah.
That is fair. But if we can't really ask our viewers to comment unless
Well,
we're
we can
about
comment
to
because they
And
might be familiar
speaking
with
of
D&D.
D&D, Seth, take it away.
Seth's doing some stuff.
Okay, so, well, I thought we were going to get into this by saying what we all wanted for Christmas, because we were going to discuss Christmas, but then we just had to talk about The Mandalorian for half an hour.
Right. Well, that's all right. Let's cycle back.
That's what Bill wants for Christmas, The Mandalorian.
And talk about what Seth is doing, what Seth got, a recent present that Seth got that's sort of partially Christmas, partially birthday, right?
No, I mean, don't tell my wife that. I still want a Christmas present.
It's all about you.
But yeah, so Katie got me a 3D printer for my birthday, and I have since been using it to print basically nonstop, just every mini I can get my grubby little hands on. So it's not a great way to show them, but here's one that I recently printed. It's a dragon knight on a dragon mount. So I printed this guy and painted him, and
That looks
yeah,
awesome.
you can't see it too well on the webcam because it won't focus on him.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy with it.
That's impressive.
And tell them what kind of a 3D printer you have.
So I have a SLA printer. It's a resin printer, and they
Versus the other type, which is
an FDM printer. So the 3D printer that most people usually think of when you're talking about a 3D printer is an FDM printer, which is the one that has the head that moves around and uses the spool of printing material to print stuff out. This one is a resin printer. It's got a vat of resin, and then there's a printing plate that lowers down into it. And the resin is a photo curing resin, so it cures at a specific wavelength of light. And what it does is the plate lowers down into the vat until there's a very thin layer of resin between the plate, the printing plate, and the photo curing plate, and then it will light up in the specific pattern that it wants to harden. And then once it's hardened, it'll raise up off of that and lower back down until and then it'll just do that layer by layer, and the resin will stick to the resin on top, and it basically will print things out upside down like this. So it starts off at the bottom layer and then slowly will graduate up through the layers to print things out.
Wow.
So and you said it's an SLA printer?
Yes.
And that makes for a much smoother, much more detailed design than the other type?
Yeah. That is the benefit, is that I think a FDM printer, you can get layers up to 0.2 millimeters of thickness. My printer will do 0.025 millimeters of thickness.
Wow.
So it gets very, very detailed, and with an FDM you will see definite lines. With this, it's very, very hard to see the lines, and the print is very smooth. The downside to my printer is that the printing area is very small. So this is about as big of a thing as I can print out
in a single
in a single printing. I can print out things that have multiple pieces that you can then glue together, and that's fine. But
so does your type of printer, though? You can buy larger ones.
Yeah. The general rule of 3D printers, though, is like the bigger you go, the much more expensive it is.
Now,
The
how about the resin that you use? So the resin, is that expensive?
It is more expensive than the filament material that the FDM printers use.
Yeah.
But overall, it's not too expensive. Like this guy probably cost about maybe 30 cents to print.
Oh, that's not bad.
And he's a little bit larger than your average mini.
Mm-hmm.
And has much better detail than you'd get on something from, say, WizKids.
So when you print something, you have leftover resin. Is that resin that's not used? Do you save that and then reuse it later?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
the vats. So the vats that contains the resin, you
Mhm.
just keep reusing that resin until it's, and like when you want to switch resin, you just like pour it back into the bottle.
Now,
and-
why would you switch
later.
resin?
Different colors.
Different colors, yeah. So I've got this one. This is a green, clear green resin, and largely I'm still just like trying things out to see what I like. But so for this, you can see he's got a staff with some crystals on it.
Mhm.
I can print this arm separate out of a different colored resin, and this one out of a different colored resin. And then I can have these be like clear and do some different coloring effects with them if I want. Whereas,
So that's what you did on that one? Used a couple of different resins?
no, I just
Oh.
used a green resin on this one just because I wanted to see how
I
it would
see.
work.
I see.
Like
But
I
if
said,
if you switch, so it's possible to switch resins in the middle of a print?
I do not know that. I haven't
Okay.
tried it yet. I don't know if I want to try it yet because that might not work.
Mhm.
Different resins might not adhere as well to, so you
To
might
each
try
other,
and
to
switch
say.
out the resin mid-print
Mhm.
and just like ruin your print.
Okay. Gotcha.
Interesting.
So how many things have you printed now, would you say?
I have no idea. I've had it for about a month now, and I have been had it going almost all the time. I've printed out and I've printed out and painted, I think, 5 different models now. So printed them out and painted them. I have printed probably 15 to 20 models in total.
So how long would you say a typical model takes to print?
I'm printing most things at 0.03 millimeters, so that takes longer. So it takes about 6 seconds a layer to print. And so the more layers you have, the longer it takes to print.
Mhm.
Which is to say that something about this size will take, this is a standard miniature size, and he will take about 5 to 6 hours to print.
Wow.
Yep.
But the bonus of the kind of printer I have is that I can use the whole print plate. So if I want, I can print maybe
Multiple
like
things at
6 of
once?
these guys at the same time.
Oh.
If I can fit them all on the printer.
Nice.
And did you say there was a
Is-
downside to having a bigger printer?
Cost.
Yeah, cost.
As always.
Of the printer, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so
Well,
mine is an Elegoo Mars, and that one cost about $200.
Is heat an issue on this one? Because the
not at all.
filament printers have sometimes there's heat issues involved in printing with a filament printer. So
Now you
I
have
just
a
wondering-
filament printer, right, John?
yeah,
And have you printed anything with that yet?
I have not, but I have read up on it, and it's like as soon as I take it out of the box and actually balance it, it's like I've just been lazy. It's like
You've had that
I'll-
for a little while, right?
yeah, it is very important that you it's 100% balanced. It's like I imagine that's the same for yours.
Yeah, it has you have to balance the printing plate,
Keep
but
it
it's
level.
a very easy process on my printer. It's basically loosening 2 screws and zeroing out the printer and then tightening the screws again, and voila, you're done. It takes all of maybe a minute, and it's almost dummy proof.
Well, cool.
Like, it surprised me how easy it was to do this. Like a lot of the models that the problem with it is that when you're doing this, you have to make sure that all the material basically is connected in some way to the base plate. So you have to set up supports for these little guys. So, because if you print something off in midair and it's not connected to the model, the resin will harden and then basically float off into the vat, where it can cause problems later. You need to make sure that everything is connected to the model. And to do that, you have to set up these supports. But a lot of the models that I print come pre-supported, so it's basically just popping it into the file that you want to print and hitting go.
Oh, nice. I've noticed in the wall behind you, Seth, you have some nice
Artwork.
Yeah. I was thinking
That's
it makes
Katie
me think
in cosplay.
but no, I don't think it is.
No, so
But it's like the whole thing. I was just thinking of Charles's walls and how he should have some.
One day.
Leave him alone.
He needs some waifus.
Well, I don't know if I've ever told you guys. I'm sure I've brought it up before, but I used to write for a webcomic called Edge of December.
Yep.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
All of those pieces, except for one, which is you can't see because it's kind of behind the cat tree right now from this angle, are done by the artist of that, Glenn Kitchell.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, he's kind of busy with other life right now and not really doing much art for people, which is sad because these are all beautiful and I love them.
Charles's wall needs a waifu.
Okay.
And Seth, you've subscribed to a service where you get these files that you can print, right?
Yeah. Well, Patreon. So there are different. There are lots of different artists. Like the one who did this is an artist called the Artisans Guild, and they have a Patreon. And so I back their Patreon, and every month they have a new set of minis that they release for printing.
Huh.
And so I get, and then I've got, I back another one called Cast and Play, and then another one called Bite the Bullet. So I think those are the 3 I'm backing right now. And between all of those, I get like 30 to 40 new models a month to print.
Wow.
Minimum.
And then, of course, you can always go out to something like Hero Forge, which I believe, Chris, you were talking about a little earlier. You want to talk about that a little bit?
For our campaign, we went to, for our Pathfinder campaign that we do with Seth, we went out to Hero Forge, and you can create your own in a bunch of various styles, down to the weapons and whether you have spells in your hands and stuff like that. So it's pretty awesome. So our group all kind of submitted some for printing for Seth, and it's pretty cool. You're pretty flexible site.
Well, hold on just a second, and I will show you those things. We didn't plan out for this, and we really should have.
So essentially, you're going out there, you're designing your character, and then instead of having Hero Forge print it, you're just getting a file that you're then sending to Seth.
You can pay a small fee, a few bucks, and they will give you a downloadable file. So if you have your own 3D printer, you can just print it out.
I see.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
I don't know why, but there we go.
And you can get it in regular plastic, premium plastic. They have colored ones you can do, bronze.
If you have them printed.
All right, so let me show you what Chris made for his own mini.
Okay.
So this is Chris's mini.
So Chris, tell us about your character.
You guys can see this program, right?
Yeah.
Magus.
Awesome.
Class.
It's a Magus?
Yep.
Okay.
So a spellcaster and primarily, melee weapon damage with spells on top of that. So
okay.
So I kind of went through. It's my first one I've ever done with it. So, but actually, I'm pretty glad to see that you actually finally got the file.
Yep.
Seth. So, I outfitted it based off of what I might imagine it to be. obviously it's all in one color here, but it's pretty cool, and I can see he's got some other some other of our characters as well, which are pretty awesome.
So this, just to kind of give you an idea here, Chris, this is Kana, and this is what I basically had to do with her to get her to print out, and that's what I've got to do with Tarrant here.
It still just says loading. I can't see Kana's file yet.
Oh, you can't?
No,
It just says loading file there.
we still
Oh, you
see,
guys must not be getting a good live.
we just still
view of
see
the
Chris's character.
Yeah, I still see mine.
Oh, sorry.
Cool. Interesting.
Now, so then, Chris, are you going to paint the character yourself, or are you just going to leave it unpainted?
Yeah, it's up to Seth. I don't know if he wants to print them out to paint them himself, but
Oh, okay.
I would happily go over, unfortunately, but due to this pandemic, normally we would come by and paint it ourselves and probably have
Oh,
a
I
good
see.
Well, I mean, I can always drop it off to you if you want to
Yes.
paint it yourself.
So I'll check and see. I don't remember if Gina picked up her painting kits, but I think we have some now for painting some miniatures. So if that's the case, then yeah, I probably will do that.
But yeah,
Interesting.
so that's kind of what I've been doing a lot that's been my creative outlet over the last month.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
And Linda had brought up that site when we first started talking about this, that a Wizard's Christmas, and so that's a campaign that's going on right now for a bunch of Christmas themed ornament or D&D themed ornaments and Christmas themed minis and whatnot.
So are they designed to be something you hang from a Christmas tree then, or you just set around the house, or?
Yep. All of that. Like, there's a ton of stuff in this campaign. Like, you see that little flying key there, kind of reminiscent of Harry Potter, like the cool, badass looking Santa. So they should they've got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to be 3D printing off, and we might be using to decorate our house. I have an ornament from this set printing right now as we speak.
Ooh.
I envision Seth's house, his printer's just running day and night, churning out.
It pretty much is.
Yeah.
I am a little scared of wearing it out, but it's, like I said, the SLA printer is very simple. It's just a plate that goes up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah. And then it's got is it like an LED light type of thing at a certain frequency that?
Yeah, it's basically I think it's basically kind of like a modified phone screen, and it just lights up at a certain frequency of light that hardens this resin.
Huh. I'll be darned. Very cool.
I've been having a ton of really nerdy
It's a
fun.
good time to make a transition to talk about something that typically would be seen as a miniature now is larger than life.
Yeah.
Something very, very
Ooh,
big.
yes.
Gundam.
Gundam, yes. Japan.
Yeah, so there was something in the news. Didn't Japan just recently unveil a full-size Gundam? There it is.
Yes.
On the side of a
It
building.
moves
A
very well.
full-size moving Gundam.
Yes.
And it's got a...
Who would? Who else would actually build a Gundam besides Japan?
I would 100% do this. You elect me president, I will have...
See,
America will have its
And
own...
that is a neat
Gundam.
thing. We should solve all of our international problems by Gundam fights.
Seth, you're going to have to start a few printers working on that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I think one key thing it's good to bring up about this is a lot of what goes into this is fan driven. Like the people who built this are true Gundam fans that have grown up and watched it, and the people who are leading these projects to build this, they're hardcore Gundam people. So that's awesome.
There has to be a lot of cybernetic advancements coming out of the research that build this thing.
Absolutely.
So it's a win-win, and it's like, man, I want to watch two giant robots beat the shit out of each other. I do. I think that would be great, and I think that would be a great way to solve all the world's problems. Gundam fights.
You must have loved BattleBots when that was on.
BattleBots?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Oh, you mean those? Yeah, I did actually. I thought that was a neat
That was a
concept.
fun show.
Yeah.
It was.
I
It's
like
like
this. Yeah, I'd like to see more of that.
Well, the Gundam, seeing the Gundam reminded me of a movie from the 80s called Robot Jocks.
Yep.
And it's like that was literally giant robots fighting to solve international problems. And it's like, what do you saw it, Chris?
Yeah.
What do you remember about it? I don't remember it being an okay movie.
Yeah, I remember so I always imagined, I rewatched it a few years ago, and actually last year again too. I think it came up for some reason. And what I was surprised about was still emphasis on, other than the crappy graphics, which at the time I thought were great. And
Yeah.
I go back and watch it, and I'm like, this is horrible. Was I think in the beginning it shows a lot of physical training that the people still do. They're not just, they don't just get in there and learn how to move robots. There's always in every like every show that has to do with like driving mechs or whatever, there's always this focus on what I want to call it, like physical fitness, martial arts training and stuff like that.
They had it in Pacific Rim too.
Oh yeah.
They had it in Pacific Rim too, and I thought that was kind of interesting that they always kind of have that, is they have to be trained in combat just physically, mentally before they even pilot it. But I remember, weird things like, cowboy hats. There's a guy in there that's running around in the cowboy hat.
There's the Russian guy that wore the cowboy hat.
Yeah, there's a Russian guy that wears a cowboy hat. It's a very, very interesting movie. The fight scenes are pretty good. The explosions are garbage. Everything is just kind of garbage, but it's entertaining because
now it's garbage.
Now it's
like,
garbage, but then it was.
You remember when Tron came out and everyone's like, "Look at the graphics!"
Yep.
Like now it's laughable.
Well, and I say the same thing about like on other older movies like that are sci-fi, like The Last Starfighter or something.
Yes.
Like that was another one that I always.
Exactly.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, you kind of felt that though, even at the time, that you could do better than that, even then. Starfighter.
Yeah, but then you were using the computer-generated graphics just to be cool, man.
Yeah, it was literally to highlight the computer graphics. The whole movie was written around that particular highlight, and it was sad.
Sad.
I remember seeing I saw Robot Jocks so long ago that I don't have any clear memory of it.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Watch
never seen
party!
That would actually be a pretty good one for us to riff if we're going to riff. It's yeah. There's lots of stuff. There's a romance that totally doesn't work. There's you never really see any of the world council that's supposed to be behind. Yeah, I think the hero actually steals a robot at one point. So yeah, it's, if I remember correctly, it's a hell of a thing.
Doesn't Disney Plus have that team watch feature now? Group watch feature?
Yeah,
I do.
I haven't tried that yet, but I've been wanting to try that.
You should try that. So if you've seen any videos of the Gundam moving, it moves like really slow because
they say they have
from behind.
Yeah, there's like 24 articulate moving parts or whatever, aside from like the fingers or something on the Gundam.
Yeah, but yeah, you can see like the fingers moving.
Fingers do like this, and
how far can it move? How far can it walk? I mean, because I would think that it would shake itself apart.
It
quickly.
looks very well supported.
Yeah, it looks that way. It looks that way.
No,
it really
from the
does.
behind, from behind you can see the support structure, and I'm sure that like it's got plenty with it inside it that is supporting it. Yeah, it gives the thumbs up. Yeah, but what's it doing? Either way, it's got
to infinity and beyond.
It's loser. It's giving you're a loser. It's doing a loser.
But there's also apparently a cockpit experience where you can get inside the cockpit.
Yeah, it's a fully built out mech. Like it's fully built out, like
nice.
Can be a man kind of thing. It's important to note this isn't the first one they've done. I think they had maybe it was similar in size or smaller, but it didn't move really. It was called like the Unicorn Gundam.
Yeah, they've done several of these, and several
they've done a few
different areas.
And each one keeps getting better.
Like I think it's all. This is all just a. I think this is all a ploy. Like you build them out in the open, you make them look slow.
Mm-hmm.
But aliens are gonna invade, and they've got like some mentally damaged teenagers just ready to pilot those things.
You think that the Gundams are going to save us from a space invasion?
No, I think they'll save Japan.
Yeah, I think Japan will be like set. Everyone else in the world is like trying to figure things out, and Japan's like launch the Gundams.
Launch the Gundams. That would be awesome.
Nice.
I mean,
yeah, if you can find it, Linda, in Tokyo, Odaiba, I don't know how to say that. Odaiba, Tokyo, they did a unicorn Gundam back in 2017. And that may have been like the last. I think every time these pop up, I think about Robot Jocks. Is why I end up watching it every few years. But that was the last big one they did, but it wasn't really designed to move or do anything. It was just a giant static statue. So this one's hitting the news again because it's like, hey, we did it again, but this time it moves.
Right.
So
it's pretty awesome.
Hopefully they don't get together with the guys who built those robot dogs.
Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
Boston Dynamics. Yeah, if you can imagine Boston Dynamics being like, hey, can we put our computers in that?
Yeah.
Boston Dynamics is the one that made that robot dog that Bill wanted a while back.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there's the unicorn one. Lights up, does all this cool things. That was kind of like their last big one, and then now we have a newer version with the traditional like Gundam colors and things like that. So
yeah.
So these are all secret, actual, functional Gundams that are going to save Japan.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Either that or they're all on top of the launch points for the actual Gundam.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I do have to say it hands down beats Civil War statues.
Oh.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, what?
The Gundam statues hands down beat any Civil War statues.
Yeah, that's way more rad.
Way more rad.
Yeah. Okay.
We should take down all of our Civil War statues and put Gundams in their place.
Just rewrite all of
that's like comparing apples and piles of shit. Literally right there. You just did that comparison, Bill. Apples.
I think the more
piles of shit.
The comparison you're looking
for
apples.
You were gonna say apples.
Yeah, apples and horse apples.
There you go.
There you go. Road apples.
Far more PG than I wanted it to be, but yeah, okay, that works.
All right, well, I think we're about at our limit for this show. Anybody have any last minute thoughts you want to interject?
Did you want to mention the Doctor Who?
Oh yeah,
Doctor Who.
We're going to be more Christmassy. We really were going to be more Christmassy.
Sure. So let's wrap up with what people should be watching this Christmas. Any specials that we know about out there?
Yeah. So the Doctor Who Christmas special actually is not going to be out on Christmas like in previous years. This will be out on New Year's. So, but same time frame.
Holiday themed.
It might be running a little late just because of COVID. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, that's one that I know of. What else? Of course, the Star Wars Lego special, holiday special we talked about at the beginning of the show. What else is out there?
Well, go rewatch the old Doctor Who Christmas specials.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Old Star Wars holiday special.
I'll be
don't do that. Don't do that.
I'll be going back watching some DBZ Abridged Christmas specials.
Yes.
Christmas Tree of Might. And you mentioned another one earlier. I think
Plan to Eradicate
Christmas. So I'll be watching those.
Nice.
You can find those on YouTube.
They are on YouTube.
It's from Team 4-Star, Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yeah, if you've not watched those, worth the watch, especially the specials.
Yeah, they are parodies of Dragon Ball Z movies.
Do you have to be an anime lover to like it?
No,
not really.
Genuinely funny. You'll enjoy them better if you've watched it, but they're genuinely pretty funny.
If you want to watch Dragon Ball Z, you have to be a fan of watching someone scream for 20 minutes while they get up to their next level.
No, because that's why it's Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
So they shrink the time of screaming down.
Yeah,
it's like
what this is it's a YouTube channel called Team 4-Star, and they gained their fame by basically doing a parody series of Dragon Ball Z. And they abridged it from like 20 minutes an episode down to like 5 minutes an episode, and cut down all the the screaming and the powering
Yep.
up and whatnot. And it's really snappy, really punchy. And you don't have to be a fan of the series to actually enjoy it, because Katie, my wife, has never seen the actual Dragon Ball Z, but she loves Dragon Ball Z Abridged because it's really funny.
Yep.
Now, the first couple, if you want to watch it, it's all free on YouTube. It takes them a little while to find the right balance, but by episode 10, they're really into it.
Ooh, is Master Roshi just as perverted in Abridged, or it's
More so.
More
more
so.
so? Nice.
Everything that people wish they would have exaggerated on, from characters' flaws or whatever, has been turned up.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Goku is just this glorious, beautiful idiot.
Yes. The idiot we all knew he could be.
Piccolo, are you a Yoshi? Yes. I'm a goddamn Yoshi. Yay!
Yay!
So, and since DBZ Abridged, they've moved on to other anime series as well and done abridged to those. So they have a ton of good quality content. Whether if you didn't enjoy anime before, they can kind of maybe get you to enjoy it from their point of view. But
I don't even know how you could level up though without screaming for 20 minutes. How can you level up without screaming for 20 minutes? I don't know.
I mean, it can be done.
It can be done.
Apparently.
Rarely.
All right. What else? What else are we missing that we should be watching?
Michael
for?
Burnham cries too much.
For Christmas?
All the time.
Supernatural has some fun Christmas episodes where they're basically killing Santa Claus.
Has that been discontinued, or is that still? Are they still making?
They just did the last episode.
They just did the last one, yeah,
Oh,
like a
okay.
month ago.
Final episode of Supernatural, 14 seasons.
Wow.
Eureka, if you remember that series from the Sci-Fi Channel.
I do.
I liked the Christmas episodes they did for that show, and Warehouse 13. That had some fun.
I liked
too.
Both of those shows. I liked how they worked together sometimes, but they got to be extremely predictable.
Yeah, the later season, the first two seasons of both of those shows were the best.
Yeah,
and then later seasons were highly.
The guy who played the Marshal, he does Whirlpool ads now. I don't even. It's I thought he was a really good actor. I thought he would go on to something more than being, the Whirlpool guy.
He will have a sci-fi rebirth. Don't worry.
I hope so. I mean, I understand he's going to get residuals from that for the rest of his life, but it's I thought he was good. I did.
I'm sure he will come back in some sci-fi movie. Look at Katie Sackhoff.
Right. When you least expect it, he'll return.
Now, the Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of her in the future.
I would like that a lot. I mean, I don't know if I haven't been seeing her because I don't watch anything but sci-fi and comedy. She could be a hell of a dramatic actress, and I would never know. But it's I don't know. I haven't looked at her IMDb. I don't know, but I do hope I get to see more of her. What do you think, Charles?
Charles agrees. He hopes you see more of her too.
Sure, why not?
Just for most of the episode, I wanted to put a mirror underneath Charles's nose to see if he's still alive.
The more flowing hair we see in the Mandalorian, the better.
The more hair?
So you're saying maskless. You want everybody maskless.
Just the women.
So predictable.
Okay.
Which is, I'm sure that's what Disney's plan was anyway.
Charles is saying something, but we can't hear him.
Yeah, you made me sad that I woke
Don't
you
know
up,
what's
Charles.
going on.
I feel bad.
I can't hear anyone now.
You can't hear anyone. We can hear everyone.
We can hear you.
All right. Well, this seems like a good place to end it. So
That's a great. Okay. So
that's a great segue. All right.
My
well, thank
internet
you all.
is dying.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you all for tuning in. We'll hope you tune in next time. We'll have some more interesting discussion, and hopefully we'll be close enough to the end of some of these series that we can discuss how they wrapped up. So check us out on galacticdriftwood.space. And until then, have a safe and happy holiday if we don't talk to you before. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy Life Day.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.